Okay. So thank you everyone for coming. And today we're going to talk about AutoCAD and AutoCAD Electrical. So again, real quick in the beginning, the installation of these programs, you are going to need an Autodesk Education student account. We went over this in week 1 of this group. So if you want to go back and reference that slideshow, you can. When you download AutoCAD on the website, AutoCAD 2022 is the program. The Autodesk Desktop App will be a part of that download process. If you already have Inventor installed from past weeks, you should already have this app. And then once you install it, off the website, you won't see AutoCAD Electrical, AutoCAD Mechanical, or AutoCAD Architecture, or any of the other, I guess, add-ons you can call them. On the website, you will only see AutoCAD, but we'll get to how to access the other add-ons in just a second. So if you go on the website, you will see just AutoCAD 2022 download. Again, if you want to do that in the background, you can. If you want to wait and see, you can do that too, for those who are in the WebEx. So when you open up the Autodesk Desktop app, this is what you will see. The first page, when you first open up, should be My Products and Tools. But on the side, you also see this little arrow, which is for updates. And then you'll also see these tabs for what programs you currently have installed. I took this screenshot before I installed AutoCAD Electrical. So right here, it's not there yet. But like now I do have the little A, like the AutoCAD with the E. I do have that symbol now on my left as well. So this is also where you can just manage all of your programs. And all you need to do to install AutoCAD Electrical from this desktop app is just that you agree to the terms and conditions and then install. And then it'll just take you through the normal setup wizard installation process. So why AutoCAD and why AutoCAD Electrical? So AutoCAD is used quite a bit in industry, but when you first open up the program, if you think about it, if you think about the program only for modeling and designing, it's really nothing special, especially by itself, like without any of the add-ons. It's a solid basic program for 2D and 3D modeling, but like I have here, Inventor outshines AutoCAD in every way. The tools are just a lot easier to use. You can simulate your assemblies. You can take parts, put them together, and then simulate the movements. Fusion 360 works too if you don't want all the bells and whistles of Inventor. So for 3D modeling, you have these other programs. For 2D, again, with no add-ons, again, it's standard, it's user-friendly, but if you're a non-student, you don't get it for free. So there are other programs out there that you can use as well. So where AutoCAD really comes in handy is a drafting program. So again, you can use it for designing, but where it really shines is drafting. And drafting, you can think of it as conveying information to someone else. And we'll get into that later about designing versus drafting. So again, these add-ons, Autodesk formerly calls them specialized tool sets. So like the top ones are architecture, mechanical, and electrical. And these are just the descriptions. So AutoCAD Electrical helps you quickly perform common electrical design tasks like numbering and tagging. This is talking about numbering and tagging wires, so you can make wiring diagrams. And again, we'll go into drafting and like what it is and how it's useful a little bit later. So real quick, we're going to go over AutoCAD again, the base program with not including AutoCAD Electrical just yet. So when you open up AutoCAD, this is what you'll see. Right in front of you, you will see your recent files. When you first open up the program, you obviously won't have any recent files, but AutoCAD does come with some templates or some samples. So, you have a floor plan, you have an assembly, and some data extraction, just examples, just showing you what you can do with the program. On the left, you have your like open to go through your file browser and to create a new file, and the same buttons are up here in the left. But that's it. The start screen again is very simple. Just any recent files, and then to open or create new files. So once you open up a file or once you start a new file, at the top of the screen you'll have the Home tab and then this banner or ribbon. And you will most likely never have to leave the Home banner. It has all of your drawing tools, annotation options, layer controls, and how to create blocks and groups. So real quick descriptions of these things. Drawing and modifying is how you create your drawings or your drafting or whatever. Annotations are how you make notes or you show dimensions. Layers, you can make certain aspects of your drawing on different levels. So that might not seem that important or useful, but just like one example, let's just say on layer 0, so this number right here, layer 0, on that layer is where you draw your main model. You draw whatever it is, what's a gear or whatever. Then on layer 1, you can change your layers to 1. You can then put some, dimensions, like you can show the diameter, the width of the teeth, whatever. Then what you can do is you can hide layer 1. So then if you want to just show the gear without any dimensions, you can just hide layer 1. And if you want to show the dimensions, you can just make layer 1 appear. So that's how layers can be helpful. Blocks and groups are kind of similar. So if you, again, you make a gear and then you want to consistently use that gear in other files, you can take it and save it and use it as like a piece. It is its own file, but you can just click and drop it into other files. And then a group is like a block, but you're not saving it. You're just taking a bunch of lines, making them one solid object, and then you can just move it around. You can copy and paste it, use it multiple times, but you're not saving it anywhere. So that's the difference between a block and a group. So then I know this is a lot right now, but in the bottom right-hand corner of your workspace, you will have all of these different tabs. So number 1 is how you toggle your grid lines. So you have your XY grid. That's how you can toggle them on and off. And the shortcut for that is F7. Again, this is just general information for you. 2 is to toggle snapping and how you can get to your snap settings. Right here, this window is your snap settings. So you can set your snap spacing, and also this is how you can edit your grid spacing. So that's that setting. Number 3 is toggling orthogonal cursor restriction. Basically, when you activate this, when you're drawing a line or making anything, you can only move in the X and Y directions. You can't move diagonal at all. For 4, if you have polar snap enabled, so under number 2, if you enable polar snap instead of grid snap, here is where you would go to then basically choose what intervals of angles you want to snap to. So right now I have, just for example here, it's checked only 90, 180, 270, and 360. Then you can make it go by 45s, by 30s, and then you can keep going down, and then it's cut off, but you can also go by 5s. So that's how you could use polar snapping. Number 5 is toggle show snapping lines. So when you're building something, the program will help you out and show certain lines that you can snap to. This just turns them on and off. That's just an aesthetic thing. 6 is probably after 1 and 2. Number 6 is probably the most important thing on this bar. This is how you can dictate what you actually snap to while building. So right here, like I have selected to snap to endpoints. You can snap to midpoints. You can snap to the center of a circle. You can snap to the center of a geometric shape, like a square, hexagon, whatever. You can snap to nodes. You can place nodes down. And these are just all different examples. So this is like really how you dictate what and how you're building. So that's probably again, like the second most important thing on this line. Number 7, so this is actually how you switch between, as you can see here, drafting and annotation or 3D modeling. So as I showed you before, you have the home screen where you have like your draw, modify, and annotations. But when you just look at that, you don't see anything for 3D modeling. This is how you get the 3D modeling tools. You have to go down here to this gear and you would have to select 3D basics or 3D modeling. And then it would change your workspace to give you those tools. And then all the way on the right, the hamburger menu, I think they call it, is your customization. This gives you access to your model space, your grid, snap mode. You can also set up your units down here. So yeah, and this is like all of your customization options. So this is the bottom right. This is where you go for most of your customization building options. So then AutoCAD also has initially confusing mouse controls. So middle click, pan around the workspace. Middle click, that's your mouse wheel. That's how you can pan around. When you right click, that brings up, your standard right click option menu. Now left clicking can seem a little weird at first. So if you were to click and then move your mouse anywhere to the left of where you clicked, a green box will appear. And any entities, any lines, shapes, anything that the green box touches is selected. But if you left click and move your mouse anywhere to the right, it creates a blue box. And with the blue box, it selects any entities that it fully encloses. So the green box selects things it touches, the blue box selects things it encloses. So that's an important distinction that's not obvious at first. And something that's really intuitive about AutoCAD and all of its add-ons is the command line. So like I said, you pan around the workspace with your middle click, so you're not using like your WASD. What you do is at any point you can just start typing and you can access almost anything within AutoCAD. So if you want to, instead of using your mouse and you want to get the line tool, you can just type in line and then hit enter and you'll have the line tool selected. Same thing with rectangle, trim, etc. But it doesn't only work for tools. You can type in OP to open the options menu. You can type UN to open up your unit options. You can type in publish so you can print or save as a PDF. You can type in find for a find and replace tool. So the command line is incredibly useful because even if you don't know where something is, you can just type it in and use it. So that's something really cool about AutoCAD. So some uses for AutoCAD. So as mentioned, AutoCAD really shines as a drafting program. But what does that mean? So design versus draft. Drafting is telling someone how something is built, connected, or laid out. So for electrical engineering, when you're designing something, you have to do the math to figure out, okay, I need a 5 amp fuse. And that's, you might use Multisim or like a simulation program, or you might do the math yourself. But that's designing. Then drafting is you have to make the diagram to tell the technician or engineer, whoever, that they need to put a 5 amp fuse here in the circuit. And that's when you would use AutoCAD to make a wiring diagram. So that's the difference between designing and drafting. Um, AutoCAD cannot be used for simulations. That doesn't mean it cannot be used for designing and modeling. Like you have the 2D and 3D modeling tools, but unlike Inventor, you can't simulate it. You can't make the parts move. You can't simulate stress analysis. Like you can't do that in an AutoCAD, but you can still model these things. You just can't simulate them. So in my own experience using AutoCAD, um, I've used it to draft enclosure and panel layouts to show where components go inside of a box on a panel to mount. I've also used it to design a dashboard panel, which was then that file was then inputted into a water jet and a laser engraver to first cut the holes and then etch in all of the writing. So this is what I've used AutoCAD for, as just an example. And now, more specifically, AutoCAD Electrical. So again, this is the specialized tool sets that they offer. Like before we mentioned architecture, mechanical, and this is AutoCAD Electrical. So what specifically changes? It adds the schematic tab. As you can see, like it's right next to home. The most used tools that you would be using are the icon menu or to insert wire numbers in all of these tools. And I'm just going to show you the icon menu. So this is the icon menu. When you click that, let me go back. When you click icon menu, this is what's going to pop up on your workspace. These are all the components you have at your disposal. I will show you in the program, like I'll actually go into these menus. But again, this is for making wiring diagrams, right? Again, this is not a simulation. So when you put in a power supply, unlike Multisim, you're not going to simulate a 12-volt power supply. It's just going to be, I'm sorry, my headset just disconnected. When you put down this power supply, you can label it as a 12-volt battery, but it's not going to actually simulate anything. It's just showing someone else, okay, I need to put a 12-volt battery here, and how it's connected to other components. So you're most likely using AutoCAD Electrical in order to create a wiring diagram, in order to then build something else. Uh, my suggestion would be to either find or make your own drawing template or title block to keep your work organized. So this is an example of a title block. One thing that's not here that I would recommend is on like the left or anywhere really, just have a way of numbering the grid. So for example, like line 1, line 2, line 3. This will help keep your work clean. But also if you have multiple sheets, you can make wiring references. So let's just say this is sheet 1 and you have a sheet 2, and you want a wiring connection to go from sheet 1 to sheet 2. Well, you can label the wire as, 1, like sheet 1, and then put a period, and then line, I don't know, 3. And then you can draw an arrow going like off screen, whatever, and it says, like it goes to sheet 2, line 6. And then when you go to sheet 2, line 6, it shows an arrow coming in from sheet 1, line 3. So that's just one recommendation. Again, you can probably find some of them online, or you can make your own. Just again, make a rectangle and just mess around with different dimensions. To a good idea would just to be make an 8.5 by 11 box, so you know that's a sheet of paper, and then just go from there. Again, in my own experience using AutoCAD, I've used it to make my own wiring diagrams, so it is incredibly useful. When you guys have access to this, these are just practice 2D drawings for AutoCAD, not AutoCAD Electrical. These are just, here, I'll just go to it. It has 2D and 3D drawings, but if you just want to hop in and get used to using AutoCAD, you can just hop in and do these drawings. Again, just practice, get used to using the program. But then besides that, I'm just going to hop into the program real quick and show you guys AutoCAD Electrical and the component menu. So I'm just going to hop in real quick. So I already selected open a new program, but these are my recents. I made my own template. Again, some of them come with title blocks. I think this title block did come with the program, so you just got to find it in your templates. But yeah, so then just in drawing, I'm just going to show you guys how to use the icon menu. So that's just something the program has to do. So in the icon menu, you have all these different options. So again, you want to put down a push button. You just click push buttons. You have, push button. So the NO means normally open. So this is a this is a button that you have to push in order to activate. Then you have push button normally closed. This is a push button that is normally allowing like power to flow, and then you push it to open the circuit. So this would be like an emergency stop button. Just again, examples. Then you have all these different versions of them, illuminated push button. So again, you just click it, you can just drop it into your workspace. It's a little small, but that was just the scaling. Again, you can put like descriptions. I'll just put this in so you can see where it goes. And we can put descriptions, what it does, where it's connected to. If you want to draw wires, you just click wire, come down here. I'm just gonna turn off snapping, and it should automatically connect to the edge there, and then we can just click and drag our wire around. And if you want to, I would recommend, so they have like their own wiring number system. I personally feel that it's a little wonky. It's not like too bad. Personally, I would just go to here and get some text, and you can make a text box and just label this as you can change the size of the font, obviously, but like, sheet one, or if you just want to do it like, 001 point and then 003, that would be like sheet one, line 3, however you want to do it. You can just select the text, go up here, and this is how you change the size of it. Like that would be your labeling. Yeah, again, this is, if you guys have experience with CAD programs as a whole, at this point, besides just showing you where things are, it's really just up to you now to just hop in and start messing around with stuff if you want to, mess around with certain switches. I recommend, this is just from experience using the program, if you want a lot more easy on the eye switches, and it's only a 1 or 2 position switch, you go to miscellaneous switches, and then SPDT switches. And then here you have, your like two terminal, I guess, switch. Just press OK. In miscellaneous switches again, here you have like, your normally open, normally closed switches. Again, they're just easier on the eye, in my opinion, compared to um like the selector switches they use up here. That's clipping through the other one. Yeah, so if you're using a 1 or 2 terminal switch, I would recommend using the SPDT switches, which are under miscellaneous. Again, that's purely up to you and what you feel. But yeah, that's it for the overview of the programs. If you guys have any questions, or if you want me to do an example drawing, I can do that, but it's up to you guys. If you want anything, you can put it in chat. I can see the chat. There it is. Okay, so if you guys have any questions or want me to do anything, I can do that now.
So I remember you bringing up that as far as like just AutoCAD in general, and I guess
hmm
this would fall under for AutoCAD Electrical. It's not necessarily for designing; it's more so for drafting. So like,
hmm
how would drafted circuits turn out differently um on here than maybe say some other software?
So, if I understand your question, you're asking like, what's the difference between this and Multisim?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, so for example, so in Multisim, right, you can put a button connected with a wire to a source, connected to ground, to an LED and then ground. And then in Multisim, you can run a simulation, click the button, and the LED would turn on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could use Multisim. You could print out the page, send it to your technician and say build this. Um, you could do that. However, in AutoCAD, you would essentially build the same circuit, um, but in my opinion, again, because this is more so what it's meant to do. And again, you can't simulate. You're not simulating in AutoCAD.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like for example, I guess I'll just pull it up. So like this is my own like title block that I made, right? So you would have something like this in AutoCAD, which you can't make in Multisim, right? And you could build your connections here. So if you want to have, like I had over there, if you want to have, a two-way switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just throw this together. Um, put it here. Okay, and I'm just going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to type in scale. So I'm going to use the scale tool. I'm going to select the switch. I'm going to press enter. You can just click a point, and then I'm just going to put in a scale factor of 2, and now it's twice as big. That's just how you would do that. Like I said before, using the command line, you can just type in your tools.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could type in like M, which is move, and then I want to move this. Again, press enter, select the reference point, and then I can just move it around. So I'll put it there. So now, again, now I have my switch, 2 terminals. This terminal is on line 3, the output terminal is line 4, and then this terminal is line 5. And then I would just, take my wire, go to like here, take my wire, go to, I misclicked, sorry. Go to here, and then, you got your other wire coming off back here. And then you could, like source arrows. So let's just say this was going to ground. Let's just say whatever your switch is connected to, those are the high, and it's a path to ground. So if you want to
Mm-hmm.
go source arrow, hold on. So you have all your different styles here for arrow choices. I'm just going to use signal arrow style 1 just for
Right.
ease, and press OK. Okay. Oh, there was a code that we used. I, uh, I'm not going to insert destination arrows right now. So again, that's just, you'd show this and you'd say, it's going like to ground. So you'd say it's going to ground. And then the same thing here, you'd have destination arrows. And again, you want to put a code in. And then you can just, I think you can copy and paste destination arrows. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. I'm just gonna click the end of the line. Okay, so this is just an example, and you could say that, the signal itself is, a 5-volt signal, but then, it's coming from, I don't know, let's just say like it's, I don't know, like red light. Like you want to activate a red light, okay? And then here you have a 5-volt signal, and then here you want it to be for a green light, right? So this is just an example. So in Multisim, you could show this as well, right? But you won't
Mm-hmm.
have these references. Like you can't build this title block in Multisim. So if you want to just build a simple, like one circuit thing, Multisim is fine. But if you want to build a big system and use multiple sheets and have these references, that's where AutoCAD comes in handy. that
Okay.
that's where AutoCAD really comes in, because then you can give, 5 sheets to a technician, and they can just look at the 5 sheets, and then they can build this whole thing. You know, for solar car, you have the dashboard, and the dashboard goes to 7 different locations. It goes to the control box, it goes to the battery box, it goes to the lights. So you have all these different locations that you couldn't properly show with Multisim. So when you're working on big projects, yeah, that's a good example, Kevin. Yeah. So when you're working on larger projects, like for documentation purposes, AutoCAD is definitely the way to go. Um, but if you want to just test out a circuit, build a single circuit, then Multisim is your way to go. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and answered my question for the most part.
Okay.
Hello, I'm under the understanding that we're asking questions now.
Yes.
Excellent. So, are you designing a PCB over there?
Where here?
Yeah,
Oh no,
like I
this
mean,
this this was just an example. This was just purely something I threw together just to show like why you would use AutoCAD over like a program like Multisim. This is just something I threw together just as an example.
like you're trying to illustrate a circuit.
Yeah, just showing like if you wanted to have a switch with like 5-volt signal for a red light and a green light, and then it goes to
Mm.
ground, like this is how you would do it.
All right. I mean, for my experience, PCB 123 has been pretty good at incorporating elements. I think Sci5 is our company that pretty much runs RISC-V. They do a pretty good job too. I've never seen you could even do AutoCAD, but this is
Okay.
maybe I just don't understand enough about AutoCAD, but very well.
Okay. What do you mean? Just like building stuff like this just for like reference?
Yeah,
Or
well, like whenever I'm drawing a circuit, um,
hmm
whenever I'm drawing a circuit, I just do quick pen and pad, and then I incorporate the actual
hmm
elements from whatever ID I'm using. Typically, it's PCB 123. That's the one my boss typically refers me to. And if you're building something on a risk,
hmm
I would use the Sci5. They're all free,
hmm And
but
do they simulate it?
illustrate a circuit. As far as PCB one two
Yeah.
three,
Do those?
since tool, I don't think you're gonna get any accurate results on it. Sci5,
Okay.
however, they'll give you full benchmarks, even sell you. You could buy components from them, like maybe you want to add an extra core to your CPU. It's very in depth,
Okay.
and they sell you all the instruction sets and the hardware drafts natively. But if you're trying to illustrate project, probably AutoCAD looks like the fastest way just to rapidly develop your project.
hmm Yeah. That's exactly that's a good point. That's exactly what I was trying to say. How just AutoCAD is extremely user friendly, and just the ease of using the program, because I threw this together in 2 minutes, and I just
Mhm.
got to throw in my wire references, and then bam, we have like the start of a project.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, that's a very yeah. Thank you for saying that. That's the point I was trying to make. How just easy it is to use this program and what it's used for. So yeah,
Very good.
um,
Thank you too, Nicholas.
yeah, no problem. So if any more questions? And again, the slideshow, and then that what I was talking about before, like this booklet, is linked in the slideshow. That'll be made available to you guys. Um, Kevin, can you do me a quick favor and just screenshot the participants real quick, just so we can make sure we everyone in the chat gets this slideshow. If I actually, I'm
Yeah,
probably just
give me
gonna.
1 second.
Yeah, no problem. Um, if there are no more questions, that is it for now. But we ask you guys do hang around just until Kevin can get all your names, or maybe I can stop sharing my screen.
All right, I'm all good.
Okay. All right. All right, yeah, so if there are no more questions. All right. Yeah, I got your UCID. Okay. All right, if there are no more questions, then that is it for this little learning session. If you guys want me to do like just have like a session where we do examples and work through drawings together, we can do that too. I don't know if you want to make that decision now or email me, or message me in Discord, whatever's easiest. We can do that too. But this was just like an introduction to the program as a whole. If you guys want to do more specific projects, we can do that too. I'm just gonna stop the recording.
I definitely think that's a good idea.
Would you be interested in doing that in the future? Just like work through like 5 drawings, just as an example.
Yeah, that could definitely work.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look into throwing something together like that. So we'll keep you guys posted.
Nicholas, IEEE, correct?
Yeah, so this is part of their like special interest groups for CAD and 3D printing. If you want to be more involved, there's instructions on that in the Discord. Are you in the Discord? I'm assuming that's how you got.
Yeah, actually, my colleague Marianella referred me here, saying that there's a pretty good example going on with AutoCAD, so I want to check you out. So thanks, Mary, for your referral code. Actually, what here is everyone here? Electrical engineering student, like Adrian, Ethan, Jose, Evan. Oh, I don't even know.
If it's easier, you can just call me Tim, but I'm a computer engineering student.
Yeah, I think most people here are electrical and computer. What's your major?